What films are you looking forward to in the future? Are you going to take some more
I
time off
haven't
now?
got a clue. I never know.
What about Philip Marlowe? Would you like to do another Marlowe?
If they make it attractive enough.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't rule it out. I just don't. I don't know that he wrote that many essays about Philip Marlowe.
Well, you know, one great thing about your version of The Big Sleep is that at least we can understand it. I've heard that even the writers of the Bogart one weren't really sure what was going on.
I remember that quite well. They called Chandler, who at that time, it seems to me, I got a thing about this, he was living in some strange place like Oxnard, and he came into town, and a bunch of writers used to gather around a bookshop, and whoever got a royalty check would buy sparkling burgundy or buy a jug, you know, and that was the cause for a celebration. They get their mail there because they were unsure, you know, of steady employment.
Mm-hmm.
And Chandler had sold this script to Warner Brothers, and they called him and wanted him to come in and explain what this extraneous, sort of totally gratuitous body, I mean, who killed him? So we're sitting around talking, drinking this California Red, and finally somebody like Jack Woodford said, do you know? And he said, I don't. You know, I said, well, tell him that. He said, I don't know. And that's the way it was left. We just simply dismissed it as suicide. Owen Taylor, the chauffeur.
Yeah.
And now why? Suddenly in the middle of a picture, a guy drives off the pier and who did it? We write, you know, suicide. Okay, next case. We don't attempt to solve it. At least Michael did make him culpable.
Yeah.
Because he kills Geiger, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I know somebody asked Jules Firthman 15 years later why so-and-so happened in The Big Sleep, and he said, I really don't know.
No.
Why?
No. You just keep dazzling him with footwork, you know, don't bother me with details.
Of all the directors you've worked with, which ones, we've mentioned David Lean and Vincent Minnelli, which ones stand out to you as ones maybe you've learned something from or a really good experience?
Well, John Huston, certainly, and Bill Wellman, and a lot of guys that I used to work with, you know, we used to just crank them out like that, like Gordy Douglas, you know, and somebody would come up to Gordon and say, I feel that that the motivation of this, and Gordy'd say, roll it, yes, of course, I get in, you know, shoot it. He's anxious to get the show on the road, and let's get out of here. You know? I remember working with Howard Hawks, and people said Howard would stand for long periods gazing off into space, and everybody would tiptoe around and say, he's writing, you know, that's when he's doing all his thinking, and he's plotting out the thing. I watched him one time. He's standing there when everyone's very silent, and Howard is gazing off into space like this, and finally he looks around like this. Just wants to know if it's time to break, that's all. Get out.
He's writing, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
When he called me about doing El Dorado, I was in Chicago, and he called me up. So I said, he said, what about a Western, you know, with Duke Wayne? I said, fine. I said, what's the story? He said, oh, no story, Bob, no story, just character. He said, people don't want to see stories. They get bored with stories. Character. I said, why not? You know?
What about Walsh, Raoul Walsh?
Oh, great. I had to break out of a little box canyon and make a sharp right turn barebacking on a horse. And so we did it. And Ralph said, could you bring him out faster? He said, you know, I said, okay. So one of the wranglers was back there with a switch. They call action. And meanwhile, they had set another camera up there, which I did not know, but the horse certainly didn't know about that. And they whacked the horse, and I bent him around the corner like this, and the horse saw this camera, and he spooked, and I went down. The horse rolled over on me, just rolled right over in the sand. Yeah. And Ralph came over, and he said, you want to do it again faster? He didn't ask me if you got broken ribs, or, you know, or you mashed it. Let's try it again.
Try it again faster.
Yeah, this time the horse will know that the camera's there and bring him out a little faster.